Hello YouTubers. Let's talk a little bit more about iteration in C#. In the last video we talked about for loops and how you could define a start and an end to for loop. I also forgot to tell you that you could actually have an infinite for loop if you simply do something like this. This simple annotation there, that's very that's unlimited, open-ended code style that would basically run your application like read key will never be hit. In fact, Visual Studio will tell you this point in here this is unreachable code because this will keep running forever. If we give it a shot in here, it'll just keep going for as long as you have memory on your computer. Alright, this is just a fun thing to learn about. Let's talk about the other two forms of iterations, which is while and do while, and what's the difference between them. We want to say, as long as, let's say you have a condition in here, some condition, and this condition is true. You could do while this condition is true, like this. Continue to print condition is still true. So for as long as this is also an infinite loop, because condition is hard-coded to true, so it'll keep iterating until, you know, for forever. But what we can use it for, however, let me throw a read key in here real quick. What we can use it for, however, we could have an iteration in here. We could say, starting at I at 0, when I, here's another Boolean condition for you, is less than or equal to 10, then stop your iteration. So when I becomes bigger than 10, you know, doesn't fulfill that condition anymore, it'll stop that while loop, right? Now in this current state, this will still keep running forever because i's value doesn't change. But what we can do is use something that we used in the for loop, do I++. Basically I++ is the equivalent of I equals I plus 1. You could also represent it this way. I equals I plus 1, right? It's exactly the same thing. So in this case here, what we expect, let's print the value of I in here just for fun, just so we can see that we're actually doing the right thing. So here we go. Right, now go ahead. It should print until it reaches to 10 and then it'll stop. Right, so while loop is the idea of to continue to iterate until a certain condition isn't true anymore. Right? With for loop, you're iterating through a list or a number of things until you reach the end of it. So think about the use cases in here. For instance, you could use while loop to ping a server as long as the server is alive. Once the server does not return a signal that it's alive anymore, you stop pinging that server and shut down. That's just an example. So this is while. What about do while? Do while is different than while in the sense that it has to do at least one iteration before it stops. So in our case in here we say do print a value like this first before you actually check for the condition. While I is less than or equal to 10. So the difference between these two is you can't, in while you're not executing until the condition is met. In here you're saying execute your code at least one time before you check for the condition again. Right? So that's the difference between these two. You know, a case where you need to execute at least once and then check back again and so on and so forth. This will just print the same thing. If you go like this, pretty much the same thing. Oh wait, because we're iterating. So that's a great example actually. So at the top here we started running until it reached to 10, and then it stopped. In the next iteration, it didn't really check the condition, so it printed out the value of I as 11, and then it went and checked for the condition which it doesn't satisfy anymore. Okay, this one has its use cases and this one has its use cases. It depends on really what you want to do, you know, with your code. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.